Merry Christmas to you. This is David Lee Kline, author of the poem you're about to hear. It's modeled somewhat after Clement C. Moore's immortal "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." Only in the case of this poem, we're going back in time to the year 1843, when the father of the farm reflects on a happening that occurred during the Yuletide season. Back in 1843, a gorgeous Pennsylvania German farm would have been nestled along a stream with plenty of running water, and it would have been in the Blue Mountain section of the Appalachian Mountains of eastern Pennsylvania. The Belsnickel would have visited sometime during the Yuletide season, most likely on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, and when the Belsnickel came, everybody paid attention, especially the children. You wanted to make sure that you were on your very best behavior. The narrator for our poem is Douglas Madenford. The musicians on the background track are yours truly on guitar and Ted Fenstermacher on the fiddle. And now, without further ado, the Belsnickel Nacht.
The Belsnickel Nacht. 'Twas the night for the Belsnickel, and out on the farm, snow on the ground kept the eldritch warm. As I walked from the barn to silo just yon, I noticed a doe and a buck and their fawn. From silo to house I soon made my way, as I fussed and I brushed to get off the hay. With stars overhead on a clear cold night, a great horned owl hooted much to my delight. Off in the distance I heard coyotes howl, and I wondered if Mum had penned up all of our valuable fowl. Our horses and ponies were all safe and sound, their stables warm and with good straw on the ground. The cows, the pigs, and the goats, and our sheep seemed content. Our barn cats and guard dog for safety are sent. Then with a startle I smelled a ripe skunk. He'd been eating fermented apples, and I think he got drunk. I watched as he meandered, winding his way, till he walked right past me. I'm so lucky he didn't spray. Some cheese and crackers, I thought to myself. That little fella reminded me of a black and white elf. From inside the house came the aroma of baking. When Mom gets to cooking, there's plenty for the taking. AP cakes, shoe fly, and lemon sponge too. Her goodies are many, not just a few. So inside I trudged to Mom and the kids, went into the kitchen and lifted the lids. The chicken pot pie was simmering with a nice yellow hue, while the pot roast with taters was starting to stew. Filling and dried corn were also coming to the table, with plenty of gravy to finish, but only if you're able. Bagged bologna with fresh ground mustard was how we would start, with pretzels and cheeses and red beet eggs fresh from the jar. We all settled in, giving thanks for the feast, when a knock on the door made us leap to our feet. The eldest child got to the door first. She swung it wide open and shrieked with a burst, "It's the Belsnickel, come to pay us call!" The smaller kids watched but backed up to the wall. In with a gruff and grumpy mannerism he came. He hobbled along as if he was lame. His coat, pants, and face were smudged with mud and dirt. Pieces of sorghum clung to his shirt. The fur on his collar didn't look much better. And to myself I muttered, "Dunno better." His beard was all scraggly and covered most of his face. It looked to be some sort of dingy old lace. His hair was all strubbly under a beat-up old hat. He was skinny and such, with not much winter fat. And the mask that he wore on his eyes was so sinister, we all knew that this guy was nothing close to a minister. Right down to our Unahussa we shook, and if we could have, we'd have hidden the Mari as a nook. In one hand a sack, the other a switch. You could see that he wanted to use it. He had the itch. "Who learned their prayer book?" he blurted out with a cry. "Will it be Jacob, Rachel, Catherine, or Cora? Aye, aye, aye. Come, speak to me now and don't act addled. I'm got no time or patience for those who are fahuddled." One by one the kids lined up to recite what they'd learned from a full year of classes in their Sunday school term. Jacob did good, and so did Rachel, Catherine, and Cora. They made no mistakes, which perplexed the Grumsora. "Mark's good," he declared, and then opened his sack, producing pennies and peanuts and candy and snacks. Onto the floor he threw the gifts, and the kids scrambled to see which was which. As they gleefully picked up all the loot, he turned to leave, but stomped with his boot. "Now listen, you kinner, listen and learn. This year you did good, and I don't need to be firm, but I'll be watching all year long. Don't think I'm kidding, don't get me wrong. Schnickelfritzes who are schusslich, mischievous, and go the wrong way will not make me happy, and so they will pay. For now I'm leaving, but I will come back, and if you don't know your lessons, you'll get nothing from my sack. And when I return, if a dummkopf you be, the Belsnickel switch you'll get over my knee." Well, the years came and went, and our kids grew up well. They learned right from wrong, and they seldom did yell. To neighbors and family and friends they were kind, and the livestock they cared for enjoyed peace of mind. Productive and happy and proud to be Dutch, I guess the Belsnickel's visits were a necessary must. Now with glad heart at Grish Dog I pray, as I make the light out and say goodbye to the day, that you and your family and Freundschaft be tasked to keep God in your lives, so you do what he asks.
The Belsnickel Nacht was recorded in the WEEU studios, Reading, Pennsylvania, on Thanksgiving evening 2018. Thanks to Douglas Madenford, Ted Fenstermacher, and on behalf of those guys and all who enjoy folkloric traditions, my name is David Lee Kline, and again, have a pleasant and wonderful and a Merry Christmas.